This is the scene at Lu Sheng's home. Lu Sheng was idly walking around the house when he suddenly heard the sound of a text message, startling him. Lu Sheng quickly opened his phone. It was a message from Wang Yan. Sir, the exotic marrow level 2 you needed is ready. There is also a specialized level 8 exotic marrow vial in the lobby on the second floor. Please use it carefully. Lu Sheng rubbed his chin and thought, has it arrived so quickly? There's still time. I might as well cultivate for a while. Lu Sheng went down to the second floor lobby to search. There were already many vials of exotic marrow prepared here. Seeing the green vials, Lu Sheng immediately knew they were all level 7 exotic marrow. In the distance, there was a noticeably different vial of exotic marrow that seemed to be glowing. Lu Sheng stood there amazed. That was the level 8 exotic marrow. He quickly picked up the level 8 exotic marrow vial. With the naked eye, he could see it contain a powerful stream of energy. Without hesitation, Lu Sheng drank the entire vial of level 8 exotic marrow in one go. It was 10 times more than the energy provided by level 6 exotic marrow. After drinking, Lu Sheng threw the empty vial to the ground. It was a lot, but the taste was disgusting. Lu Sheng wiped the residue from the corner of his mouth, feeling that there was nothing special about it. The young man seems to be too arrogant now. As soon as the words were spoken, Lu Sheng felt extremely dizzy. His mind swirling day and night turned upside down. Suddenly, a rough, violent, bloodthirsty thought surged up in his mind, losing its humanity. These emotions surfaced so quickly that Lu Sheng was caught off guard, unable to react in time. Is this the remnants of the will of the strange creature? Countless negative emotions flooded into his body. The 8th level exotic marrow gathered into a terrifying stream of energy, rampaging through Lu Sheng's body. The deficiency in his blood-cleansing pill was completely replenished and was rapidly increasing. The flow of energy stopped once it filled up. There was no more room for it to squeeze in, so it was released outward. Lu Sheng let it release but remained in control of himself. The Divine Illumination King Sutra amplified thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of times, surpassing 100 million cycles of rebirth and transformation. Finally, a second immortal cell was successfully formed. The cultivation of the 3rd stage of the immortal golden body made a significant leap forward. Lu Sheng's body returned to its normal state. With 2 more breakthroughs, it could surely reach perfection. His body was also being reshaped and reconditioned, becoming stronger and more robust. This process was somewhat similar to demolishing and rebuilding, but it was much safer and more stable than that extreme demolition process. A question suddenly arose in Lu Sheng's mind. Earlier, during the process of blood activation, the immortal cells secretly absorbed some energy and underwent millions of transformations. This proves the potential of the immortal cells is immense. Hundreds of millions of transformations are just the foundation. So what about billions, trillions, or even quadrillions of transformations? Lu Sheng looked at his hands, vaguely wondering, could it reach an unimaginable realm? Suddenly, something made Lu Sheng feel a bit unusual. Ha! What is this? Lu Sheng tried to move his arm and realized that the exotic marrow serum seemed not fully absorbed yet. Lu Sheng looked at the 8th level exotic marrow 2 in front of him and murmured, drinking 8 tubes of this exotic serum at once only has such a minor effect. Pain. He gritted his teeth, enduring the excruciating discomfort. When he could no longer control the beast within, his eyes seemed to ignite with flames. Lu Sheng let out a deafening roar. Dark energy began to surround him. The black mist gathered around him, accompanied by a haunting voice. You won't be able to withstand this energy. The cruel demon lord within Lu Sheng revealed himself, standing opposite him. He seduced. You and I are one. Just accept it obediently. Lu Sheng remained silent, gritting his teeth in enduring silence. After a moment of restraint, he stood up and swung his fist forcefully at the demon lord. The punch was so powerful that it sent him flying away, disappearing. Get out of my way, Lu Sheng shouted. The force of his punch was so strong that it shook the entire building violently. A female servant and Wang Yan were nearly scared out of their wits. This building can withstand a magnitude 16 earthquake. But what in the world is happening now? The dark energy continued to swarm around Lu Sheng, accompanied by eerie laughter. Ha ha ha. In an instant, Lu Sheng's body began to expand uncontrollably. The energy surged relentlessly, unable to be stopped. His body continued to swell to the point where his arms were as thick as tree trunks. If this continued, his body would burst apart. Cracks began to form on his skin, and Lu Sheng struggled to regain his natural breathing. Gradually, Lu Sheng entered a state of fully activated second-layer non-illumination. At this moment, he was on the brink of life and death. Waves of blue light were swirling and oscillating fiercely. Lu Sheng sensed many strange sensations, and his body gradually returned to normal. There were still several cracks on Lu Sheng's face that had fallen away. Lu Sheng slowly opened his eyes, regaining his composure after the recent experience. He felt a surge of vitality returning, grasping the great Tao. Even if you were to die, it would be without regret. Surely this saying fits this situation. This is the true essence. If not destroyed, not established. If destroyed, then established. The immortal golden body was at the third stage, perfected. Lost in cultivation, Lu Sheng only glanced at the clock to find it was 11:52. He exclaimed in shock, "Ah, it's over. I've focused too much on cultivation. How did over 8 hours pass so quickly?" Lu Sheng was extremely tense as he took out his phone to call Dong King Su. "Hello, Trading Officer Dong. I'm truly very sorry. Today." Before Lu Sheng could finish his sentence, Dong King Su had already guessed. She said, "Cultivating, you lost track of time, didn't you?" Lu Sheng awkwardly replied, "That's right." Dong King Su coldly asked, "Is there anything else?" Lu Sheng fearfully answered, "That's it. That's all." Dong King Su replied with an icy tone, "Okay, I have to cultivate now as well. Goodbye." After hanging up, Lu Sheng sat in front of the phone, feeling confused. He heard her voice and couldn't tell if she was angry or not, but it seemed like she was. Just after finishing the call with Dong King Su, Lu Sheng received another call from Qin Shao Jun. Training Officer Qin is calling me. As soon as he answered the call, Lu Sheng was shouted at by Qin Shao Jun to the point where he almost burst his eardrum. Qin Shao Jun yelled, "Lu Sheng, you're about to die. Don't you know this is the first time Dong King Su has invited a man to dinner in her life? How dare you make her wait, damn it." Lu Sheng was taken aback, looking dumbfounded as he explained, I just happened to be at a critical point in my martial arts training today. I forgot about it for a moment." Qin Shao Jun sighed in frustration. "Is that so? Ha! It seems that heaven isn't helping you. By the way, why does your little buddy keep breaking through every 3 days? That's impressive." Qin Shao Jun shook his head and clicked his tongue. "But does it have to be during times like this?" Lu Sheng, naively unaware of the gravity of the situation, replied, "I can't control this either, and it's just a 3-hour delay. Is it really that serious?" Qin Shao Jun was left speechless, only able to smile and say, "Lu Sheng, you're truly something. I'm impressed." After hanging up, Lu Sheng felt confused, asking himself, "Is it really that serious? I can't let it go. I need to check it out." Lu Sheng directly entered the dreamscape space, scrolling to search for information. He clicked on personal information, quickly scrolling through to find Dong King Su's profile. His gaze stopped when he saw Dong King Su, still his future partner. Lu Sheng was pleased. "I told you, having a girl wait for just 3 hours isn't a big deal." After finishing, Lu Sheng felt at ease. He hadn't lost the life partner card. He was just overreacting. If it was fine, then there was no need to meet. He should just focus on cultivating. Now Lu Sheng started to reassess himself. The time for the immortal golden body's third stage to reach perfection was much faster than that of the second stage. Lu Sheng couldn't help but admire. "It's just like a hack. After achieving perfection, my skills will be greatly superior to the original. Whether it's innate abilities or appearance for a cultivator, the main issue is the compatibility with the cultivation method. Some people with unusually long arms are suited for sword training. Some have big joints, suited for boxing and martial arts. Lu Sheng's body was simply well suited for physical training, nothing exaggerated. Even if one day he could cultivate the eternal star undying technique to a level comparable to Wang Ha's, he still couldn't reach Wang Ha's heights because it was a technique Wang Ha created himself. But from this moment on, it would no longer be the case. Lu Sheng firmly declared, "I must recreate the will of martial arts with the help of the natural breathing method, completely transforming into a body compatible with the eternal star undying technique." Lu Sheng's eyes became deep and intense. Lu Sheng calculated very carefully, with an almost 100% fit, even surpassing the creator, Wang Ha. Perhaps his current martial could take a name that sounds truly magnificent. The name Lu Sheng thought of was indeed quite impressive. Eternal star, immortal body, similar to the primordial sacred constitution, heavenly overlord physique, and the legendary primordial Dao Wom true physique. Lu Sheng felt proud. Now, he could also be regarded as the one with the strongest physique in the universe. Lu Sheng stood laughing to himself, feeling self-satisfied before uttering a line. "Ha ha, of course, all of this is just self-encouragement. But one thing cannot be denied, the current power is indeed something formidable that can be distinctly perceived." Lu Sheng raised his hand to the sky, and a swirling golden circle resembling a small sun appeared above his head. The indomitable martial technique created a circle around Lu Sheng, illuminating the entire sky. The circle dissipated, leaving behind a sky filled with golden light and the sound of birds chirping. Alongside that was the growling of a dragon twisting around Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng looked like he was engulfed in flames at that moment. This time, even top-level grandmasters shouldn't hope to easily break through his defenses. His fighting power had reached several stars now, doubling it wouldn't be too much to ask, right? Lu Sheng rubbed his chin and thought, let's find a target for practical experiments. Lu Sheng ventured deeper in search, looking at the corpses lying scattered on the ground. Lu Sheng stood gazing into the distance where a shadowy figure appeared. He said, I found you. Xuanyuan blade-style martial saint, that is Guk Swan, with a very eerie face resembling a skull. Guk Swan wore a sturdy armor, carrying a saber at his waist, with a crescent moon hanging above his head. Lu Sheng clenched his fists, extremely excited. Come here, let me see if I can fight with a martial saint now. Lu Sheng took a step to gain momentum and charged forward with fierce determination. He was like a rocket, thrusting straight ahead. The Taoist Guk Swan slowly raised his head, his gaze flickering with indifference. He raised his hand and a beam of radiant light shone down from the sky, illuminating the surrounding area. Lu Sheng's pupils suddenly contracted. The enormous energy from both sides clashed head-on. Guk Swan's power was overwhelming, forcing Lu Sheng to retreat into a defensive stance with a protective shield surrounding him. Lu Sheng struggled to withstand the terrifying power of Guk Swan. It seemed that the strength was engulfing him completely. Lu Sheng was sent flying backwards, crashing through several buildings. Finally, he fell to the ground. Lu Sheng fell back, sliding for a long distance, leaving 2 trails on the ground. Dust and debris flew everywhere, shrouding the sky in a haze. Lu Sheng bowed his head, one hand pressed against the ground to steady himself, and murmured, Is this the power of a martial saint? He regained his cold demeanor, and this time he was determined. How could just one saber kill me? This time, you're definitely going to die. The wound on Lu Sheng's hand quickly healed, as if it had never happened. From his forehead and chest, brilliant lights shone. His eyes began to widen, performing the 3 immortal cells, unleashing all his strength. At the same time, Lu Sheng shouted an unmatched will of martial arts, activating all the natural breathing artillery. Guk Swan's face remained calm and unshaken. His lips moved slightly, only to say, 1 saber kills. Lu Sheng vaguely thought, I didn't expect to be able to sense his thoughts. Fine, then let me show you something more practical. Lu Sheng's eyes turned from green to gray, entering a divine martial state. This is the technique of splitting the body. After completing my perfect martial way behind Lu Sheng, hundreds of Lu Sheng sprang forth, each in a different state of action. At this moment, Guk Swan's face showed some fluctuation, but he still tried to maintain the calm demeanor he had at the beginning. He drew his sword and attacked Lu Sheng with a powerful pink sword aura emanating. Hundreds of Lu Sheng charged together, executing the technique to shatter the void. The 2 great techniques collided, creating a thunderous explosion that illuminated the area. Now only a dazzling region was visible, obscuring what was happening inside. Smoke rose thickly around them, with Guk Swan in a sword-wielding stance, smiling, his face marked with black veins. Lu Sheng swung his fist, the power still radiating. Lu Sheng looked at Guk Swan standing behind him, completely unaffected. Too cool. I won't allow anyone cooler than me in this world. Lu Sheng bent down, light shining down. Guk Swan's body was gradually disappearing. So rest in peace, the immortal spirit. Then Lu Sheng's gaze became dull. Lu Sheng felt dizzy and his head spinning. After that, Lu Sheng turned and fell flat on the ground. This battle consumed too much energy. I had underestimated the terrifying power of the martial saint-level zombies. Guk Swan seemed to be harboring a terrifying killing move. But after all, he was only acting on instinct without any ability for consideration. If not, I would be the one doomed. Lu Sheng forced his body to crawl closer to Guk Swan's outfit. Lu Sheng kept engaging in inner monologue, but the void-breaking tactic has indeed become much stronger. The attacks of the clones were also more than 200 attacks to double the previous amount. Lu Sheng's gaze was sharp. Of course, it could only be used in the dreamscape space. Outside, there was basically no one worthy for me to use this move against. When I officially unleashed this move in front of the world, as Lu Sheng felt the dark energy emanating from the outfit, his hands were already stained with the blood of the martial saint. A memory flashed up in the torrential rain. The sky was pitch black, illuminated only by the terrifying lightning strikes. There was a boy sitting under a tree, his entire body curled up, so cold. There was another boy holding an object in his hand, his eyes gleaming with excitement, reaching out and calling, "Brother, I'm back." That boy was Guk Swan's older brother. Guk Swan's older brother, face smeared, but joyfully exclaimed, "Quick, look at what this is. Here you go." Guk Swan looked at the tube in his brother's hand and recognized it was nutritional fluid. "Where did you get this?" Guk Swan's brother handed the nutritional fluid to Guk Swan, saying, "I have been rummaging through the vehicle we just arrived in for half a day. There were originally 2 tubes, but unfortunately, one was snatched away by those Xiao Dao guys. Sooner or later, I will beat them until they spit it out. Guk Swan obediently shared, "Brother, let's each take half, and don't fight them anymore. It's very dangerous." Guk Swan's brother ruffled Guk Swan's hair. "Don't worry, little brother, I will definitely take you to the base to learn martial arts and to deal with the bad guys." In the following days, Xiao Dao's brute panicked and fled, while Guk Swan's brother fiercely brandished a knife behind them. The Xiao Dao members yelled as they ran. "This is crazy. This kid is really crazy. Run fast. Don't fight someone like him who isn't afraid of death." Meanwhile, Guk Swan's eyes were filled with tears trying to stop his angry brother. Brother, Guk Swan's brother reassured him. "I'm fine. Don't cry. You saw it, right?" Guk Swan's brother was holding him tightly with one arm while the other held a knife. Surrounding them were members of Xiao Dao being brutally cut down, blood splattered all over the ground. Guk Swan's brother advised, "You have to be fierce to survive. Remember, when you practice martial arts in the future, focus on learning how to kill." Guk Swan clung tightly to his brother, softly agreeing. "Brother, don't die. I remember. A figure emerged behind Guk Swan and his brother. "You two survived. I didn't expect you could make it." Both Guk Swan brothers suddenly turned their faces toward the back. From now on, the person's body exuded a powerful aura, and his voice was full of authority. "Follow me." Then, in the blood-soaked battlefield, a man knelt on the ground and begged, "Please don't kill me. I have a daughter. She just turned 5 this year." The photo of his daughter was stomped on by a foot. The little girl in the photo smiled brightly and was incredibly cute. Guk Swan looked at the child in the photo, his gaze slightly wavering. Then, Guk Swan lifted his foot off the picture. "You can go." The man holding the photo expressed his deep gratitude. Thank you, good person. May you turn misfortunes into blessings." Guk Swan opened the door and walked in. Guk Swan's brother picked up a cigarette to smoke. "Have you killed them all?" Guk Swan answered succinctly, "Them." Guk Swan's brother broke the cigarette in his hand and advised, "These people are followers of an eschatological cult. They have lost their humanity, and there is nothing to pity. It's still the same saying, if you don't kill others, others will kill you." Guk Swan's brother grabbed his neck, pulled him close, and instructed, "Whether it's martial arts or being a person, you must be ruthless. Understand, Guk Swan?" Guk Swan calmly obeyed as he had years ago. "I understand, brother." Then there was a continuous call. "Guk Swan! Guk Swan!" Someone reported, Your brother is dead." The image of Guk Swan's brother being brutally killed, along with the picture of the little girl, the daughter of the man Guk Swan had spared that day, lingered in his mind. Guk Swan, a small figure, sat in the temple, his eyes wide with disbelief, unable to accept that it was the cult exacting revenge. His brother had taken his place. He had killed 13 6th-level people, but all that remained was this broken knife. Guk Swan held the knife painfully in his hand. Later, Guk Swan raised the sword with both hands, standing behind his teacher. The old man in white robes was unhappy and had previously told him that cult is no longer human. They are the greatest hidden threat to humanity. Any words they speak must not be trusted. Afterward, Guk Swan became frantic, his gaze sinister, murmuring, daughter, and opened a dreadful smile. The old man in white looked at Guk Swan before him, holding an object that resembled a scroll. "Guk Swan, Mr. Duan has said that your current killing intent is too sharp and bloody. You can only be taught the original blade technique." Guk Swan caught the scroll thrown by the man with one hand. Only after eliminating the killing intent from the knife would he agree to meet him. "Guk Swan, it's been 10 years. Why has your killing intent not decreased but increased?" Guk Swan was now fierce, crazily slaughtering. Guk Swan, after another 10 years, remained the same, still indifferent to everything and continuing to kill. Guk Swan, in the end, you still couldn't let go of the old man in white's side, his voice filled with dissatisfaction. At this moment, Guk Swan was kneeling on the ground. Behind him, swords were plunged deep in, blood seeping through the layers of earth. With both hands raised, he howled in anger, his eyes filled with madness. The old man in white appeared behind him again, his tone cold. "Guk Swan, he said he will not meet you again in this lifetime. From now on, you fend for yourself." In another piece of land, Guk Swan sat cross-legged in a pose that suggested he was meditating. He was deep in thought, wondering to himself, "Have I gone astray?" His gaze fell down to the ground, filled with contemplation. This time, a voice echoed without any emotion. "I only know how to kill. Have I gone astray?" Suddenly, Guk Swan's body emanated a powerful aura, energy surging as if to shatter everything. "If I am astray, then so be it. Martial arts are just the skills of killing. It was he who taught me." In another place, Lu Sheng opened his eyes wide. His body shook. He sat up, rubbing his head, its voice hoarse. The intent to kill is too pure. Memories flooded back, all training, fighting, an endless loop. Lu Sheng recalled Guk Swan's strong and oppressive demeanor. In his mind, scenes of continuous battles emerged, bloodshed, slaughter, a coldness that was cruel. He staggered to his feet, one hand supporting his stomach as he walked, his gaze distant. I once thought that defending the front lines for 9 days, the accumulated killing intent was extremely terrifying. He chuckled bitterly, but compared to Guk Swan, it's really like wanting to give up the sea. This person named Guk Swan is too extreme, completely immersed in the path of killing. Lu Sheng's gaze dimmed, his voice almost a whisper to himself. He is walking the path of slaughter, a rarely seen path in martial arts. The number of people he has killed is even greater than the number of people I have encountered. The strange creature must number in the hundreds of millions. In his eyes, life is no different from weeds. Lu Sheng walked towards Guk Swan's armor, but despite the overwhelming killing intent, he was still not lost in the chaotic and violent consciousness that transformed him into a killing machine. It was truly astonishing. Lu Sheng looked at the armor on the ground. Killing was inherently an extreme battle force in martial arts. Guk Swan was a genius, and only heaven knows how terrifying he was at his peak. The battle just now was probably not even 1,000th of his strength. It turned out that the gap between himself and a martial saint was still too vast. Lu Sheng's gaze became serious. No, Guk Swan can no longer be considered a level 9 martial saint. His strength would likely ensure that a level 10 martial artist would definitely die under his blade. Fortunately, I didn't provoke him into using that killing move. Lu Sheng touched his face. Damn, he thought to himself. After absorbing the memories, his facial muscles seemed to have grown colder. Lu Sheng recalled the scene of himself in the kitchen, expertly slicing a fish with one hand as if it were a scene from a movie in his past life. He had been killing fish at the fresh food counter in the supermarket for 10 years. His heart had long been as cold as a knife. After this trip, he would have to binge watch sweet romantic dramas to recover. Lu Sheng opened Guk Swan's armor and began to search. Lu Sheng's eyes lit up. Found it, he thought. The core of Guk Swan's martial arts, and Lu Sheng's hand was a sharp piece of metal, like a fragment of a blade. The light emanating from the martial arts core radiated like a surge of power. The image of a figure appeared in Lu Sheng's eyes. This is the hand of that person touching the grass in the field, the heavenly intention like a blade, the falling intention like a blade. That person stood in the middle of the field on a sunset afternoon radiant in orange-red human fate like grass. That person raised a hand to draw the blade. This blade is called the intention to kill, a ray of powerful light directed at Lu Sheng, smoke billowing thickly. In the sky was a magic circle. Above it were smaller circles with symbols of fighting power. Lu Sheng smiled. It was successful. Looking at a symbol in the small circle shaped like a blade, its body wrapped in vines, Lu Sheng was very surprised. This was his second talisman manifestation. Compared to the oceanic deity's power before, this blood-colored totem sword was clearly much stronger and more powerful. In Lu Sheng's mind, the images of Guk Swan and the old man in white clothes flashed by. Both were martial saints of level 9, but Guk Swan's killing path was clearly much stronger than Zhao Fuhai of Jia Yun Shan. The increase in his fighting power was incalculable. Lu Sheng reached out to grasp the sword in the symbol of the circle. Previously, his strongest weapon was the spear technique of the frost-piercing prison spear. From now on, the king of weapons must change. Lu Sheng held the sword, his demeanor very charismatic. Lu Sheng held the powerful sword in front of him. With that, Lu Sheng charged forward, gripping the mighty sword. Red rays of light surrounded Lu Sheng. Holding the powerful sword, the red rays of light were severed, and several fragments fell. Lu Sheng wielded the blazing sword, satisfied that it could cut through space. The killing intent cultivated by Guk Swan was the strongest weapon. Then Lu Sheng felt a sense of regret. Spending 8 million contribution points to upgrade the Crimson Star Dragon patterned spear seemed a bit wasteful. Lu Sheng's eyes were full of eagerness as he reminded himself, maybe I should make a blade now. All my martial arts are completely integrated. I can use whichever method is powerful, without the worries that other martial artists have. It seems I need to find more rare metals and mystic gold. The next morning, sunlight streamed down onto the large round wooden table. At that table, there was only Lu Sheng and a blank white plate. Lu Sheng was focused on something. Lu Sheng was reading news on his iPad. The S-level abyss area of the military district has been successfully stabilized. The northern military district suspects a new abyssal crack has appeared. The 9th combat zone of the eastern military district has successfully defended the abyssal crack. This abyssal crack has finally been rated as AA level. Lu Sheng, holding a teacup, was surprised. Ha! The martial arts competition of the military district is holding a contest for the sub-district. Lu Sheng finally understood, so that's how it is. First, there was the military district martial arts performance, followed by the competition of the general military district, covering all three levels: Elite General Level 7, and Elite General Level 8. The screen also displayed the message, "Prepare for the General Military District Martial Arts Performance. The major military districts are actively preparing. Hurry up and register." Lu Sheng thought, in the end, whoever wins this competition will become a candidate for the new general position. Lu Sheng's mind was filled with images of generals, his eyes shining brightly. The entire Eastern Military District had only 4 generals, and the whole Dragon Nation had no more than 30 people, making it a significant event. Lu Sheng was about to take a sip of water, but paused upon noticing something. Oh, the news featured an image of Lu Sheng. The headline read, "General Military District Martial Arts Performance, promising candidates for the new general position," with Lu Sheng's picture right at the top. Lu Sheng, with strong potential, could become the most promising candidate for this martial arts competition, likely to make it into the top 20. It seemed that there were many top experts in the military. The person at the top of the elite general leaderboard was called East Emperor, with a strategy level of 27 stars. The combat power of a general level character was estimated to exceed 30 stars, while Marshal was even stronger. Calculating like this, there truly were many military experts. No wonder the obsession was so deep. For a 9th level martial saint, having such a large number of top martial artists, yet not a single one reaching level 9, who could endure that? Lu Sheng continued to observe the masters and evaluate them. Thinking about it, Tan Zhongyu's challenge to him also made sense. In the past, showing talent only intrigued him. If he were to take the top position in this military performance competition, would it surprise Tan Zhongyu? Just thinking about it was interesting. As Lu Sheng pondered, he smiled with delight. Suddenly, his expression changed. This is another piece of news. The report included a shocking photo. National Eagle has experienced a cultist attack. The entire town was sacrificed, shocking the entire terrorist organization. Originally operating in Nanzhou, the force has in recent years confirmed 3,671 dead, 125 seriously injured, and 325 lightly injured. Lu Sheng's hand gripped the tablet tightly as if he wanted to crush it. Despicable cultists. His eyes shone brightly and his expression seemed fierce. Over 1,000 lives lost, men drained of blood, women and skin used to wrap for the cultists to feast upon. The veins on Lu Sheng's face stood out. According to Guk Swan's memory, the cult was also related to a different world. To gain great power, they were willing to become slaves to strange creatures and caused internal strife within the nation. It seemed that this pest needed to be eradicated sooner rather than later. Lu Sheng put the tablet away in his pocket, made up his mind, and decided to go deeper into the fissure to find some rare metal resources. Then he would accomplish some merits, equip himself properly, and then destroy those lowly beings in one go. Lu Sheng picked up the phone to call someone. It was a bit difficult to get the items alone, so he needed to find someone to help. On the other side, Hong Yu's phone rang. She answered, "What is it?" "You want to go deep into the 3rd level of the abyss?" Lu Sheng's voice came through Hong Yu's phone. I would like to ask for someone to guide me. After all, I just arrived and am not very familiar with the abyss. The loot will be shared with everyone 1/10. Let's meet tonight at the Central Mission Gate. I'm hanging up now. One of Hong Yu's teammates looked excited, raising both hands as if ready for battle. Wow, this is amazing. An elite general is taking us to the abyss. I never dreamed we would have this day. If the other teams found out, they would be extremely jealous of us. Hong Yu looked back at them, saying, "Sharing is a small matter, but building a good relationship with Mr. Lu is what really matters." 3 of Hong Yu's teammates cheered, "Captain, we understand." She was in the same car with Mr. Lu. We promised not to be a hassle. Hong Yu felt embarrassed hearing that, her cheeks turning rosy as she covered her mouth shyly. Don't say such things. But those 3 continued to tease. Make the most of this opportunity to build a relationship with Lu Marshal Saint. Hong Yu could only scold them. That's rude. We shouldn't talk like that. As a result, Hong Yu ended up in the same car with her 3 teammates. Their faces darkening in disappointment, especially Hong Yu. She seemed to turn to stone, only able to hear the sound of nature. On the way, the car turned on its lights and sped towards the destination. In fact, a few minutes ago, Lu Sheng had sat in the driver's seat. I had just learned how to drive and wanted to practice more. Everyone was in the same car. Hong Yu felt a little sad inside. The ideal was beautiful, but reality was harsh. She had thought there would be a chance to get closer to Lu Sheng. 3 hours later, in a dim, rocky place, Lu Sheng looked at the scene before him and asked, "Is it this place?" Hong Yu followed behind and replied, "Yes, sir." Hong Yu began to provide information. The abyss crack had many layers. The deeper you went, the stronger the strange creatures became, and no one knew how many layers there were below. But compared to the dangerous strange creatures, the abyss was even more perilous. Lu Sheng was puzzled. Abyss. Hong Yu's expression became serious. That's right, strange creatures originate from a different world, which I'm sure you are aware of. The abyss is essentially a different world. It can also be said to be a part of the different world. Strange creatures come from there. The abyss constantly emits the aura of the different world, which manifests in our world as a strange black fog. Lu Sheng asked again, can this fog damage electronic devices or even corrode ordinary people, turning them into wild beasts? Hong Yu agreed. That's correct, but it only affects ordinary people. Martial artists are not affected. Therefore, we should try to stay away from the abyss, and if we encounter it, we should retreat quickly. Strange creatures continue to come from there. Lu Sheng's sharp gaze looked ahead as he thought to himself. Just like in that dream, the black fog was overwhelming, and it turned out to be from here. Hong Yu looked at Lu Sheng. Sir, everything is ready. Let's go. Hong Yu stepped forward, but Lu Sheng called out, wait, I have a question. Lu Sheng smiled and asked, what if I want to enter the abyss? The four of them were shocked, as if struck by lightning, and exclaimed in unison, huh? The Hong Yu group's expressions hesitated slightly. Hong Yu hesitantly replied, huh? Sir, I don't know about that. Lu Sheng stood facing the Hong Yu group. Don't know? Has no one ever tried? Hong Yu looked a bit worried. No, many have tried. Hong Yu imagined those who went but never returned and closed his eyes to respond. Those who attempted to go deeper inside all went missing. So there is no answer to this question, even including martial saints. Lu Sheng asked about martial saints. Hong Yu admitted, that's right, this is a story from 200 years ago. Each of the four nations sent one martial saint to work together and enter the abyss. Since then, there has been no information about them. This is a secret of the Dragon Nation. One of Hong Yu's teammates quickly spoke up, Sir, do you really want to go deeper inside? We wouldn't have enough lives to spare. Hong Yu also subtly agreed, triple a level abyss, as long as we don't go deeper than the 30th level, there shouldn't be any major danger. Then Hong Yu's gaze was like a warning of danger, but in reality, one must be careful in the deepest areas. This is not a place to play. Lu Sheng replied indifferently, yeah, I know. After that, Lu Sheng flew down into the abyss. Let's go. While he was flying down, Lu Sheng thought and calculated. After returning, he would enter the dreamscape to gather information about that area. 9th level martial saints had not returned. What about 10th or 11th level experts? I don't believe that in 10,000 years of martial arts, there hasn't been a top level expert who tried something similar. There must be a great secret inside. Lu Sheng and Hong Yu's team jumped down into the abyss and finally arrived at their destination. Then Lu Sheng quickly jumped straight ahead. Lu Sheng tilted his head and asked Hong Yu beside him, is there nothing on this path? Besides the measurement items, is there anything else worth noting? Hong Yu thought for a moment and replied, if there is anything left, it would probably be the martial arts madman inside the abyss. Lu Sheng leaned on one hand against the ground and stopped. Martial path fanatic. Hong Yu also stopped and followed Lu Sheng. Hong Yu explained martial path fanatics are a few martial artists who are not part of the military, residing deep within the abyss to train year after year. In Hong Yu's mind, those martial path fanatics had very crazy and frightening appearances. Hong Yu continued to explain many of them belong to martial arts schools. They pursue the ultimate martial arts goal, and these people always exist within the cracks of the abyss. Their martial will and combating lie are even stronger than the elite generals of the military. No one is weak. Since they reside in the abyss, they also kill strange creatures. Therefore, the military doesn't pay any attention to them. Lu Sheng, walking beside him, asked, then why be cautious of them? Hong Yu enthusiastically responded, they have cultivated to the point of becoming possessed. As long as they can break through to the ultimate martial arts, they are willing to do anything. Drinking dirty water and eating raw strange creatures is just the beginning. Some even eat the flesh of their own kind because they believe that consuming the blood of powerful beings can make them stronger. Under the influence of the abyss environment, they are no longer human. Moreover, to sustain themselves, killing people for supplies is a common occurrence. In their eyes, a human life is not worth as much as a few bags of supplies. Lu Sheng's gaze darkened upon hearing this brutal information. Lu Sheng thought to himself, eating the flesh of one's kin compared to the slaughtering ideology of Guk Swan, these people are truly the heretics and evil path. An hour later, at the 20th level of the abyss, Hong Yu looked at the strange creatures with their bodies severed, strewn across the floor. White smoke was still rising. Finally, it was all dealt with. In front of the crowd was a path illuminated by light from the outside. Hong Yu knew that ahead was the exit and a way down into the deep abyss. Only the mouth of the cave was clearly visible, while inside, everything was just black with extremely limited visibility. Everyone had to be very careful. Lu Sheng took the lead and said, "It's fine. I am a spirit thought master. Just follow closely behind me." A stream of purple-black energy emanated from Lu Sheng. He took a deep breath and spread his arms wide. The aura that radiated around him made Hong Yu and the others feel terrified. "Sir, what are you doing?" they asked. "This energy is just an experiment. There's nothing to worry about," Lu Sheng explained. "It won't affect anything." Then, a purple vortex was created before Lu Sheng's eyes. No matter how many dark bones entered, once they touched my immortal essence, they would all be erased. This body is too powerful to allow any anomalies to exist. The vortex continued to swirl deeply, creating a terrifying whirlpool. Suddenly something appeared. Hong Yu's group shouted, "This is bad. A strange creature is taking the opportunity to attack. Mr. Lu, be careful." A fierce, strange creature charged directly at Lu Sheng, attacking with great ferocity. Lu Sheng's body also emanated a threatening power. Hong Yu stared in shock at the two strange creatures that had been defeated by Lu Sheng in just a second, lying stiff on the ground. What? The Black Moon Lotus under level 5 didn't even get close. Is this really the strength of a 12-star general? One teammate behind Hong Yu also spoke up. Not only that, with such powerful mental cultivation, let's not forget that he had to undergo testing for half a month without rest. His blood energy must be depleted. The last person agreed, "I really don't know how Mr. Lu is trained. Compared to that day, I just feel like a useless person. At first, I thought following Mr. Lu would earn us some merit, but now it seems we might not even need to make a move." Hong Yu crossed his arms over his chest, thinking that it would be an honor to accompany Mr. Lu on a tour of the abyss. Not everyone gets to have that honor. The bursts of power kept being unleashed extremely strong, causing rocks to shatter. The mist before their eyes, colleagues were stunned. What? Is there another one underground? Hong Yu was worried. "Sir, Hong Yu will run over quickly. Are you okay?" Lu Sheng rubbed his wrist. "I'm fine." Looking at the group of Hong Yu that had just arrived, Lu Sheng explained, "I was just trying to deal with the strange creature without using weapons. Everyone, gather useful items and let's continue on." Hong Yu's eyes couldn't hide his astonishment. Mr. Lu killed the level 7 strange creature in the blink of an eye. Hong Yu stood in the middle of the severed body of the strange creature, lost in thought. How did he manage to make such a perfect cut without using a weapon? There was a group of people in the distance. Lu Sheng noticed, "Wait, someone is coming." Hong Yu wondered, how can there be people inside? Could it be? Hong Yu reached behind to grab his weapon while reminding his teammates, prepare for battle. The footsteps drew closer and Hong Yu seemed to suspect, it was 5 people who appeared, all with injuries, for the Warstar team Hong Lo. Hong Yu waved, "It's Yu Jun, Yao Yu." Yu Jun unexpectedly took off his hooded cloak. Hong Yu, along with Lu Sheng and the team approached. "You all have been in there for so long. Why do you look so battered?" Yu Jun had blood on his face and his arms were covered with wounds. He sighed as he sat on a stone. "Don't mention it. It's been almost a month in there. A few nearly died, and we gained nothing." Yu Jun suddenly remembered and continued, "That's right. How far down are you all planning to go?" Yu Jun's gaze and expression looked very grim. "Listen to me, absolutely do not go deeper than the 25th floor. The martial arts down there are truly insane." Yu Jun recalled the brutal scene of martial artists killing each other mercilessly. Without mercy, they want to hunt down a lead general from our district. 2 teams have already completely lost contact. Yu Jun rolled up his sleeve, revealing a hand covered in blood. He said, "I just received the information and turned to run. Otherwise, I might have died in there." Yu Jun continued to pull up his sleeve, exposing an arm that looked as if it had a chunk bitten out of it, now only covered in bright red. Hong Yu saw this and was horrified. Covering his mouth with one hand, Lu Sheng was also taken aback. At that moment, Hong Yu looked at Yu Jun and asked, "At only the 25th floor, do they dare to take action against an elite general?" Yu Jun replied, "It was a collective riot. We were preparing to report the situation to the military department." Yu Jun said his goodbyes. "We're heading out now. Captain Hong Yu, be careful." The members of Team Hong Lo also left and Hong Yu looked worried. "Sir, Captain Hong Lo is very cautious. Should we?" Lu Sheng struck at the strange creature with one hand, but his gaze remained fixed on the group of Hong Yu. He spoke up, "I know, don't worry. This time we won't be descending below the 25th floor." Looking at the strange creature split in half and eliminated, Lu Sheng continued, "Even if we do descend, Lu Sheng's gaze was sharp. The way I brought everyone down, I will bring everyone up just the same. The Hong Yu team shouted loudly, "Yes, sir!" Team Hong Yu followed behind Lu Sheng, while Lu Sheng led the way, continuously defeating strange creatures with one hand. The aura of power radiated from Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng and Team Hong Yu arrived at the 25th floor. They finally made it. With his strength, Lu Sheng believed that as long as they didn't encounter legendary level 9 strange creatures, there would be virtually no danger. Lu Sheng remembered the book he once wrote. He recalled that the materials contained notes about rare mineral metals. Inside that document was a map of rare mineral metals. Lu Sheng circled the images of the rare mineral metals with a pen. He closed his eyes, trying to remember the map, and realized that the location was very close. Then, a purple light emanated from the 25th floor. Then came the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th floors in succession, and the glowing image of the rare minerals appeared. Lu Sheng opened his eyes wide, found it. He quickly ran after it. The Hong Yu team also immediately followed. "Sir, wait for us," a teammate called out, feeling confused inside. "Didn't we say not to go down?" Then the group jumped down from the floors one by one, the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th floors. Lu Sheng dashed ahead, and Hong Yu quickly chased after him. While running, Hong Yu spotted something. She called out to her teammates behind her. "Staying close to Mr. Lu is the safest. Don't run around." Lu Sheng's eyes sparkled with excitement. He smiled eagerly and stopped. In front of them was a gigantic strange creature, surrounded by white mist like clouds. Lu Sheng once again unleashed his power against the strange creature before him. He effortlessly and leisurely destroyed it, sending a beam of light directly at the strange creature, engulfing it. Then the strange creature fell to the ground, its outer shell peeling off. Lu Sheng smiled. "Everyone go collect the loot." Hong Yu's team approached the strange creature to take inventory and gather its shells. One person picked up a glowing fragment. A teammate's eyes sparkled. "Sir, this is rare metals. It's rare minerals." The person was overjoyed. "Sir, we've struck it rich." Hong Yu looked at that person, while Lu Sheng chuckled, not too surprised. "Oh, really? Let me take a look." The others also found rare minerals, and everyone was beaming with joy. Hong Yu held up a piece of rare minerals, his eyes also brightening. "This is indeed rare minerals, and the purity is very high. This ore vein must be substantial." Hong Yu's teammates hugged each other and shouted loudly, "We're rich." The three laughed joyfully. One person with ambitious eyes said, "With this much, we can upgrade each team member's equipment to a new level." Another person held the rare minerals with a mesmerized expression. He opened a level 7 exotic marrow and drank it. "I can finally get the level 7 mystic gold I've been eyeing for so long." The last person fondled the rare minerals. It can also be exchanged for a set of S-level battle gear. Those people laughed slyly and greedily. Hong Yu's expression turned serious. "Shut up." One person was startled and came to his senses. "Captain, what's wrong with you?" Then he glanced at Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng was simply coldly staring at him. He glanced back, his eyes filled with unease. Then he hugged the pile of rare metals and knelt down, panic in his voice. I didn't mean that." He hurriedly slapped his own face, saying, "I'm sorry, my lord. I didn't mean that at all." The others also knelt down. The young man's face was drenched in sweat, his eyes filled with worry and fear. "Please forgive me, my lord." Hong Yu looked at his teammates and spoke up. "Throughout this journey, we haven't done anything. The rare metals were discovered by you. All the harvests must belong to you." The three people chuckled in agreement. That makes sense. Lu Sheng walked closer to the one who laughed the loudest, patted him on the shoulder, and smiled. "Greed is very normal. I can understand." The man who was patted on the shoulder felt like his life was about to end, while the other teammates trembled and hurriedly replied, Don't. Thank you for understanding. No, for forgiving." Lu Sheng's hand emitted light and unleashed power. Hong Yu behind him stopped. "My lord, don't." A beam of light shot out, and the rare metals on the ground flew into the air, then stacked neatly into large rows. Lu Sheng controlled the rare metals with one hand, pointing to the rare metals behind him. "What are you all standing there for? Come help me move them." The whole group was taken aback, but quickly responded, "Ah, yes." Hong Yu breathed a sigh of relief. "Fortunately, Mr. Lu is tolerant and has not gotten angry. Otherwise, I really don't know what the consequences would be." After that, everyone began to put the rare metals into bags. As they worked, they said, "It's really strange. Don't say it's because of Mr. Lu being here. Even if it wasn't him, in a situation where I haven't exerted any effort, I wouldn't dare to take any rare metals. It felt like being seduced by a ghost earlier. I can't believe I actually said those ridiculous words." Hong Yu was extremely uncomfortable and hurriedly urged, "Stop the chatter and hurry up." The three people, Drenched in sweat and fear, quickly got to work. Yes, the person who had laughed the loudest earlier looked dissatisfied. Dan, if I had known, I wouldn't have given those 2 bags of items to the Honglo people. Those bags could hold a lot of rare metals. The person next to him agreed, exactly, you should have just ignored them. Damn it. Lu Sheng listened to the conversation and felt confused inside. Strange, this group and the Honglo team were relatively close colleagues. Now it seemed that they had temporarily put aside their previous generosity and enthusiasm. What they showed was selfishness and pettiness. Clearly, before entering the 30th floor, they were not like this. It seemed that these black bones were a bit strange. There were footprints visible on the ground. Lu Sheng stood up, sensing something unusual. The sounds along with the black smoke appeared. It was sustenance. It was sustenance. It was sustenance. Lu Sheng seemed to perceive that this was the martial Dao seal's hidden cultivation in the abyss that Hong Yu had mentioned earlier. This phrase echoed like a spell. It is sustenance. There were dark figures with red eyes emerging. Lu Sheng closed his eyes to sense. Don't say anything more. This kind of aura really had a bit of the appearance of being possessed. The footsteps gradually approached, and Lu Sheng remained unshaken, even smiling. If they were coming, then let them come. Lu Sheng's body exuded an aura, looking very ready and eager. So let's resolve this quickly to avoid encountering them on the way back. That would be a real hassle, Lu Sheng thought to himself. Piles of purple rare metal ores were stacked up. Hong Yu was also actively piling up the rare metal ores. On Hong Yu's side, the teammates were working hard and they were finally nearing completion. Meanwhile, Hong Yu still had a lot of rare metal ores left. Lu Sheng smiled at the group of Hong Yu and spoke up. Everyone has worked hard. After we move outside, I will give your team a portion. Hong Yu also lifted the rare metals from her body in gratitude. Thank you for your generosity, but we would feel embarrassed if we accepted, so there is no need. However, Lu Sheng's gaze was very cold. I don't care whether you feel embarrassed or not. If I want to give, then everyone should just accept it. Seeing the frozen expression on Lu Sheng's face, Hong Yu quickly agreed, yes, thank you, Mr. Lu. Lu Sheng silently chuckled to himself. When he was still weak, showing anger was of no use, but now that he had become stronger, others could not easily refuse his kindness. Hong Yu seemed to sense something. Ha! Then her body tensed up as she hurriedly reported to Lu Sheng. Sir, something is not right. But Lu Sheng calmly replied, I know. Before Lu Sheng and his team were terrifying red eyes emerging from the darkness. Lu Sheng remained calm, as if he had known this before. I am waiting for them. The feet of those people were grotesque, with long black nails, rough and scaly skin, and their pants tattered. They appeared like zombies, their eyes glowing red, repeatedly uttering, ha ha ha, flesh, fresh flesh. Hong Yu's 3 teammates were horrified. They are all masters, martial arts masters. Why are they appearing here? Hong Yu observed his surroundings. Judging by their appearance, they were likely the legendary martial arts maniacs. This group had previously ambushed the Hong Lo squad, causing them to lose contact. It was very likely they were the ones. One of Hong Yu's teammates spoke up, irritated. Damn, these beasts even feast on our own people. We used to fight alone, so when did they start acting collectively? Lu Sheng calmly speculated. There can only be one possibility. Within this group, there is an absolute powerhouse, a king leading them. Everyone in Hong Yu's group was astonished. King? What do you mean? Immediately, applause rang out. A long-haired figure looking like a vampire in both appearance and attire stepped forward. He clapped while walking towards them. Among this group of martial arts maniacs, he said, you are very clever and quite strong. Your flesh and blood must be delicious. Devouring you will make me even stronger. Another martial arts maniac chimed in. Lu Meiying, this kid might belong to you, but the rest must belong to us. Lu Meiying, with a bloodthirsty gaze, licked his lips eagerly. Of course, I only eat the finest. Hong Yu recognized the person before him and unexpectedly shouted, Lu Meiying, the Eastern military genius from the previous term. Didn't you die over a decade ago? Seeing Hong Yu's reaction, Lu Sheng asked, do you know him? Hong Yu explained, Sir, you arrived late, so there are many things you are unaware of. At that time, only the most talented individuals with top-tier strength were referred to as the Eastern military geniuses. Lu Meiying ranked 3rd on the overall leaderboard with a combat power of 13 stars. But a decade ago, he went missing during a mission to suppress the abyssal riots. Hong Yu's gaze was fixed directly on Lu Meiying and the group of martial arts fanatics. Everyone believed he was dead. Who would have thought that today he would be here, so miserable that he survived by eating and drinking the blood and flesh of his fellow clan master? A teammate of Hong Yu, upon hearing the story, could hardly believe it. He held his head in his hands, his eyes wide with surprise. What? Over a decade ago, he had a fighting power of 13 stars. How strong is he now? Mr. Lu only has 12.5 stars. Are we about to die? Hong Yu quickly reminded him. Shut up! After more than a decade without sufficient resources, his vitality might have diminished and he could still be at a pinnacle level. Lu Meiying laughed heartily. Interesting, are you trying to make me laugh? Then Lu Meiying's eyes shone brightly, showing a very dangerous expression. However, resources, isn't that something readily available? Lu Meiying raised an arm to the sky and a swirling red power appeared. Alright, I don't want to waste more words on my dinner. Lu Meiying's gaze was sharp. You all, if you can see this form of mine, you should sincerely thank me, you foolish food. A terrible long red vortex was unleashed. The Hong Yu group raised their hands to shield themselves, while only Lu Sheng stood still, unaffected at all. A horn appeared. Lu Meiying had transformed into a demonic beast with 2 horns like those of a buffalo, fangs like those of a fish, wings, and additional horns growing from its back. Lu Meiying was fierce with a long tongue and a very joyful grin. Hong Yu trembled. What? What is this? Lu Meiying spoke. All the power has been offered up. This is the feeling. Lu Meiying, with its green tongue, laughed heartily. The essence of the Eastern Stars that was a long time ago. Lu Meiying recalled memories of the past when he fell into the abyss and was cut by a beam of light. At that time, I was as weak as a mosquito, but fortunately during that abyssal of Hevel, I fainted deep inside the abyss. When I was in despair, I received guidance from the god. Lu Sheng asked, the key word in the phrase god, what do you mean? Lu Meiying did not answer directly, only saying, the essence of martial arts is to become stronger through various means. So, by consuming them all, wouldn't that make me even stronger? Lu Sheng repeated the question. Who is he? Lu Meiying laughed again, then did not answer Lu Sheng's question and said, the essence of the Eastern Stars, now I am the son of the East, the demon sun. One day my light will shine out of the cave, covering the entire surface of the earth. Lu Sheng stepped in front of Lu Meiying, his tone somewhat displeased. I've asked you twice now. Didn't you hear me? Lu Sheng put both hands in his pockets, his expression annoyed, but he still smiled and casually said, ha ha ha, it seems you didn't catch a word of what I said. Lu Sheng's gaze was cold, extremely oppressive. That's it, then I'll go find him myself. Lu Sheng used the intimidation tactic. Lu Meiying, filled with fear, shouted loudly, what level of pressure is this? Who are you, after all? A loud explosion echoed. Ha! Lu Sheng pierced through Lu Meiying with one hand. Lu Meiying shattered in an instant, leaving only his screams reverberating. Lu Sheng had ruthlessly eliminated him, his expression still indifferent, as if nothing had just happened. Lu Sheng turned around, his body still exuding a powerful aura. You are the sun, so what am I? The martial arts enthusiasts were terrified. What that? This was the scene. Lu Meiying's head lay motionless on the cold ground. Lu Sheng's hands still lingered with some energy. Lu Sheng looked down disdainfully. Too weak, can't even take a punch. Hong Yu's gaze was still in shock, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Once synchronized with the stars of old with combat power, far surpassing 13 stars, and yet Mr. Lu defeated him easily, as if crushing a fly. What kind of power does Lu Sheng have? The group of martial artists panicked. Run right now! Run fast! Lu Sheng extended his hand, revealing a burst of light power. He swung his hand down, and the beam of light erupted. The martial artists were sliced apart by his light power, leaving only their screams of terror. One of Hong Yu's teammates looked very surprised. So this so-called 12-star combat power is just what he wants the world to see. Hong Yu smirched slightly to himself. One person can eliminate all the evil sect masters. This time, with our entire army participating in the martial arts demonstration, our Eastern Military District will become famous. Lu Sheng finally spoke. This level has been nearly cleaned out. Wait here for a while. After saying that, Lu Sheng quickly flew away. Hong Yu hurriedly called out, Sir, but Lu Sheng continued to fly out of the cave entrance. As Lu Sheng flew away, he thought about the person who just mentioned the word God. Ha! What is deep within the abyss? The light here only covered a shade of green, and the space was slightly dim. Lu Sheng landed deep within the abyss and touched down on the ground. He sensed that the space here was exceptionally quiet, eerily quiet. He continued to walk and observe more closely. Inside, there was dense black fog, and even his 7th or 8th level mental power found it difficult to probe. If someone with weaker mental strength came here, would they not be completely blind? Lu Sheng looked ahead deep in thought. Do I have to dive straight in? Inside, a light emerged, shining directly into the center of Lu Sheng's eyes. Lu Sheng was surprised. Huh? At that moment, Lu Sheng felt as if he had entered another space. The sky was clear blue, the grass and trees lush, that light still shining brightly, and a gentle breeze was blowing. A beautiful foot lightly touched the surface of the water. Lu Sheng blinked in awe. This is. Before him stood a beautiful maiden, with wings on her back like a fairy from a myth, incredibly lovely. Lu Sheng watched the fairy smile, and in his heart, he thought that natives of this other world are truly marvelous. There are intelligent beings here. The beautiful fairy smiled and extended her hand. Lu Sheng remained lost in thought. Moreover, he seemed curious about his own existence. Lu Sheng's gaze was entranced as petals of cherry blossoms floated through the space. Lu Sheng's footsteps moved closer. Does she like humans? Both reached out their hands as if wanting to touch each other, and the cherry blossom petals began to fall again. The scene was truly romantic, even surpassing those love stories. Love transcends worlds, transcends species. In that moment, Lu Sheng began to glow. Suddenly, the image of the fairy distorted. One eye suddenly began to weep. Then the fairy transformed into a horrifying monster with dozens of eyes and a bright red body, long red tendrils on its head. It had a round belly no different from a wine belly and was even speaking temptingly. Don't be afraid, come here, don't worry about the appearance, come here quickly. Here, hands were reaching out as if wanting to grab someone, and in the center, there were glowing red eyes. The voice was still echoing. Everything you want is here. Lu Sheng's gaze was stunned. The long red tentacles were approaching. The voice continued. Yes, just like that. The hands kept reaching out, withdrawing, joining, and worshipping. The strange monster drew closer to Lu Sheng, wrapping its long red tentacles around Lu Sheng's body and enticing him. Step in my embrace, my beloved child. Lu Sheng's eyes seemed to be mesmerized. The demon flicked out a tongue dripping with liquid, as if wanting to taste its prey. Lu Sheng raised his hand, showcasing his strength. Then, Lu Sheng swung his hand, unleashing a beam of light at the demon. It was attacked unexpectedly, screaming out. Lu Sheng smiled, startled. But I was just fooling you. Did you really believe it? Lu Sheng raised his middle finger, his tone cunning. Fool! The demon ground its teeth in annoyance. I hate disobedient children. Kill. The demon's body disappeared, revealing terrifying dark streams. Kill. I must kill you. Then, a crowd of strange creatures poured out. Catch him for me. Outside, Hong Yu held the identity card. It was indeed Lu Ying. She looked at the card in her hand. The identity card was still valid. Meanwhile, her teammates were diligently working on the other side. Those individuals were examining the corpses of the martial arts fanatics. This was a master who had surpassed the martial arts school, Hong Feng of the Thunder Martial Arts School. It turned out that the leader of their martial arts school was here. Hong Yu spoke to her 3 teammates. Gather all the evidence. After we return, report to the military district. She looked at the deformed bodies of the martial arts masters on the ground. Nearly 30 martial arts masters had died in one breath. Perhaps this was the bloodiest event involving masters in recent years. A teammate who stood with his arms crossed behind Hong Yu also spoke up. They were all dead long ago, just dying again. They certainly weren't good people. Hong Yu agreed. That's true. Lu Sheng jumped out of the deep cave. Hong Yu and her teammates turned around at the sound. When Hong Yu saw Lu Sheng appear, she asked, Sir, have you returned? Lu Sheng coldly said, Quickly pack up. We must leave the abyss immediately. Lu Sheng's gaze was very serious. Find a way to notify the other team leaders in the abyss. Tell them to retreat quickly as well. Hong Yu asked, Sir, what happened? Lu Sheng calmly replied, Nothing. I just accidentally angered some things deep in the abyss. Lu Sheng, carrying bags of rare minerals, informed the Hong Yu team. They are preparing to riot. A green-skinned monster is extremely angry, along with other strange creatures that are also very aggressive. Inside the cave, the phrase, kill, 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 kill. I want to kill him keeps repeating. The ominous energy in the cave is pouring out terrifyingly. Lu Sheng and the others hurried away. One Hong Yu teammate glanced back while running, all of them hurriedly carrying 3 large bags of rare minerals on their shoulders. Faster. Lu Sheng exerted power. A large beam of light appeared and flew towards the cave above. Then Lu Sheng jumped up, and the beam of light also carried the Hong Yu team with it. Lu Sheng leaped higher, smiling victoriously, with 3 large bags of rare minerals behind him. Hong Yu sighed in relief, finally returning to the ground. Lu Sheng and Hong Yu looked down into the pit, where eerie red eyes were staring up. Whoa, luckily they don't know how to come up here. Curiously, Hong Yu asked, Sir, what exactly did you do? Hong Yu reached up to scratch his head in confusion. To be able to cause such a large riot, it's fortunate that there are many strange creatures. Charging out in groups will greatly affect our progress. Hong Yu recalled the scene of a group of aggressive strange creatures rushing out earlier. That's why they couldn't chase us. Lu Sheng smiled at Hong Yu. It's nothing. Don't pay too much attention to it. Let's just take the items back to the military district. Hong Yu's three teammates lifted three huge bags of rare metals, excitedly responding, "Yes, sir." Then the whole group trudged along happily with the huge bags of rare metals. "Let's go home," Lu Sheng said, then paused to look down the line. Lu Sheng thought to himself, being tricked by an insect, if it were me, I would definitely be very angry. One day, if the insect that tricked me crawled in front of me and suddenly gave me a strong shove, I would surely be even angrier. At the headquarters of the Eastern Military District, the weather was completely opposite to that in the secret bunker earlier. The sky was clear blue, a vibrant source of life. The whole group of martial artists gaped, their eyes captivated by the pile of rare metals that Hong Yu and Lu Sheng had brought back. Oh my goodness, this team's luck is incredible. Discovering rare metals after such a short time in the abyss, some took out magnifying glasses to examine the shimmering purple rare metals, noting not only their large quantity, but also their high purity. Looks like we struck it rich. Hong Yu's three teammates put their hands on their hips, grinning widely. Of course, Yu Jun also assessed that it wasn't just ordinary luck. Yu Jun evaluated the black car in front of him. Did you not notice the license plate of the leading car? D0002. Yu Jun's eyes were filled with horror, indicating, that is the car of a top general. Doesn't that make you feel shocked? The others were just as surprised. What? Could it be that the young man is actually a top master general? Yu Jun admitted. That's right. We all misunderstood. Yu Jun imagined himself hugging a big thigh and felt immense regret. That is a true big shot. If I could also hug that big thigh, I could ride the wave too. Yu Jun's tears and nose ran, feeling heartbroken, not feeling happy at all. A teammate of Hong Yu spoke up. Mr. Lu, all of he's tested and considered a top master with a combat strength of 12 stars. That 12 stars isn't his full strength, we're guessing. That person imagined Lu Sheng's power and responded. 20 stars wouldn't be enough to describe Mr. Lu. The whole group was in shock and exclaimed in unison, "Huh?" And 5 minutes later, at Lu Sheng's villa, sunlight illuminated the gate and there were 2 guards stationed there. Lu Sheng looked back at the group of Hong Yu. Everyone take the items for accounting. Once everything is settled, I will transfer 10% of the profit to everyone's accounts. You all can go back now and disperse. Hong Yu raised his hand to his head in a military-style salute. Yes, sir. In the bedroom, Lu Sheng was closing his eyes, lying leisurely. Then, he entered the dreamscape again. Lu Sheng looked at the red strips with the words, "Let me see what lies in the deepest part of that abyss and what kind of monster resides in those depths." The text about the abyss appeared, and Lu Sheng reached out to touch it. The red strips unfolded and rotated. Lu Sheng observed and then realized, so it connects to the second battlefield. The explanation for this in the Fire Sea plan is that 2 worlds are stacked on top of each other, and when they collide, it creates a spatial crack. Lu Sheng watched the rays of light cracking and attacking the ground. These cracks were not the same. If the interior was relatively intact, they would form a twisted gray area. This area was enough to accommodate peak experts from the different world who descended, namely, the second battlefield. The gray battlefield was where the strange creatures, resembling white bones wearing sturdy armor, moved in groups, holding weapons as they walked. In the sky, flying strange creatures also appeared. Behind them was a black mountain with bright yellow sunlight illuminating it, but the sky was extremely red. The pink-red planet seemed to be colliding with the surface of the Earth. Lu Sheng thought, these two have different levels, different timelines, and even different universes. Then, a golden sphere seemed to be opening. For some reasons, a collision incident occurred that caused the 2 worlds to stack on top of each other. When the sphere opened, the strange creatures emerged in fright. Is this the reason for the strange creatures' invasion? Lu Sheng thought, but it was very clear that the world of the strange creatures was much stronger than theirs. Lu Sheng looked at the strange creatures that had once battled powerful martial artists. The power disparity between the 2 sides was quite large. Therefore, strange creatures from a different world could easily invade our world. Then, an image of an hourglass appeared containing many strange creatures touching the surface of the Earth. Conversely, it was very difficult for us to enter the different world. Lu Sheng pinched his chin with 2 fingers, his eyes full of passion. No wonder he absorbed so many memories of zombies, he thought to himself. Lu Sheng realized that it was rare for level 10 and level 11 powerhouses to take action. Experts of the level like Wang Ha could only be mentioned in conversations. It turned out they all went to the second battlefield to fight against the powerful monsters from another world. The scene of powerhouses battling the strange creatures was intense. Countless powerhouses entered the battlefield one after another. There were images of strange creatures being defeated, as well as images of powerhouses being attacked in return. The strange creatures and powerhouses fought in a chaotic mix, making it impossible to distinguish between the two. Lu Sheng continued to ponder. Strange creatures would not stop growing over time. The main struggle of martial artists 10,000 years in the future would be this. Images of powerhouses wielding gigantic weapons, bursting with power, attack the strange creatures. How far has the tension between the two civilizations reached? On one side are powerful titans, on the other are images of fierce strange creatures, completely dependent on the competition between the top titans of the two civilizations. The final result will surely be defeat. That is why they do everything possible to give birth to a 12th level titan. The image of corpses lying scattered in pools of blood, with some strange creatures gripping tightly as if cruelly crushing humans. They have wiped out all the 10th and 11th level titans. Lu Sheng understood that the Fire Seed plan originated from this, but does a 12th level martial artist have a chance to win in the second battlefield, or to maintain an advantage? Perhaps. Lu Sheng's gaze was extremely focused, but it was also very difficult. Lu Sheng looked at the red stripes in front of him, but the lowest was at the 10th level of martial arts. They might qualify to enter the second battlefield. Lu Sheng recalled the martial artist he'd encountered before. Now he had been a martial artist for 300 years. The second battlefield had not yet opened. The image of Xiao Zhan and others appeared. Below was a picture of Lu Sheng together with Jiang He, followed by an image of the beautiful King Su. Lu Sheng looked at the pictures and thought it seemed to be somewhat irrelevant to him. Then Lu Sheng's gaze grew serious again. If he reached 11th level or even 12th level in martial arts after 300 years, he could directly rush into the intersecting world, killing each titan one by one. Lu Sheng recalled the image of himself heroically defeating the strange creatures. Lu Sheng spread his arms wide, the light behind him soared upward. A beam of light shot straight up into the sky, piercing through the clouds. This is my martial arts will, and yet it has broken through, Lu Sheng told himself. Lu Sheng's body was filled with energy as he looked at his hands. Is it because the goal has become completely clear? He wondered. Lu Sheng's gaze was serious, and it seemed his thoughts were quite clear. He would strive to quickly reach level 12, enter the second battlefield, step into the otherworldly, and resolve the disaster at its roots. Before Lu Sheng was a swirl of light surrounded by strange creatures. He thought of the skyscrapers of the city. The war could not last until 10,000 years later. The civilization crisis would collapse. Lu Sheng's eyes were filled with determination. Lu Sheng imagined himself breaking the stalemate with the strange creatures. In martial arts, 3 years from now, he would completely reverse the situation with one hand. The bright sky shone down on the buildings, looking very warm. Wang Yan walked ahead, showing the demeanor of a manager. A Lai Dai carried a tray of tea behind him. Wang Yan approached where Lu Sheng was sitting at a large wooden round table. Sir, Wang Yan spoke. Lu Sheng, holding a cup of tea, replied, What's wrong? Lu Sheng glanced at Lai Dai, who was holding the tray of tea. This is the special Ling Swan Longjing tea from Butler Wang, Lai Dai said, placing the teacup on the table. The cup had shimmering blue water. Please enjoy. Lu Sheng picked up the teacup and savored it. Lu Sheng smiled. Oh, this tea contains a strange kind of power. How interesting. Lu Sheng thought to himself he never expected to reach the level where someone would gift him special tea. Wang Yan clapped his hands, and then a male servant wheeled a cart towards them, on which sat a suitcase covered with a white cloth. Wang Yan gestured, Sir, the level 7 spear you ordered last time has been completed. Please have a look. Lu Sheng sat still, using his power to lift the suitcase from the cart. Is it finished so quickly? Lu Sheng asked, holding the weapon inside the suitcase. It was a long spear adorned with rare metals. Lu Sheng smiled in satisfaction. Very good. It's not just an ordinary level 7 weapon. It feels almost at level 8. I am very pleased. Holding the spear, Lu Sheng looked at Wang Yan and Lai Dai standing behind him. This time I brought back a lot of rare metals. Help me forge another weapon. I will send the design later. Wang Yan bowed his head in response. As you command. Then Lu Sheng continued to issue orders. Lai Dai, see off Steward Wang. We'll have guests coming over soon. Prepare some wine and food. Lai Dai also bowed her head in compliance. Yes. Lai Dai and Wang Yan went out, with Lai Dai gently closing the door behind them. Wang Yan looked at Lai Dai. You are really lucky to meet someone like Mr. Lu. Lai Dai agreed. That's right. Wang Yan walked ahead, waving her hand. Do your best. Don't let the trust that Mr. Lu has placed in you down. In the future, there might be opportunities for advancement. Lai Dai's cheeks turned pink. She remained silent. Then, a person in a black cloak leaned against a pillar behind, chuckling softly. That person had an extremely dangerous gaze, then spoke. Lai Dai, don't be tense. I am an old comrade of your parents. I even carried you when you were little. Lai Dai turned around to look at that person who continued. Right now, you are working for Lu Sheng, right? Are you interested in having a little chat? Lai Dai looked unsure. She was silent. Her eyes seemed to be pondering. After a moment, Lai Dai opened her mouth to agree, all right. At the crowded airport, the third combat zone. The airport is very spacious and bathed in blinding sunlight. At this moment, King Su was walking with her arms crossed. There was a blond man wearing black glasses. He lowered his glasses and exclaimed, "Oh, there's a beauty." He looked at King Su's chest, then her face. In his heart, he assessed, "This aura suits my taste, not bad." Then the blond young man approached King Su, adopting a greeting tone. "Hello, which combat zone are you from? Which division?" King Su looked at the stars on his uniform, then said, 7-star General, huh? King Su raised her hand to her forehead in salute to the young commander, Colonel Dong King Su, under the command of Lieutenant General Du Fai Yi, 1182nd Division, 9th War Zone, at your service. He smiled. Du Fai Yi, I don't know him, but I know your Lieutenant General from the 9th War Zone. Come dine with me tonight. I will invite your Lieutenant General as well. Ting Su turned away, bluntly refusing. Sorry, I'm waiting for someone. I already have plans for tonight. The man angrily commanded, cancel it. Ting Su remained aloof. I can't cancel. The other person will be very upset. The man's gaze was filled with menace. That let him come along. I'm very interested in the 3rd War Zone. Whose anger can be more serious than mine? He said, looking full of challenge. A hand grabbed his shoulder. The man laughed heartily. Shang Yi appeared, looking at the blond young man. All right, then let you see with your own eyes. The blond young man looked panicked at the oppressive aura of the man. Who are you? Shang Yi gripped his neck with one hand, lifting his body high. Is this all the strength you have as a lieutenant general? The young man cried out in distress. Then Shang Yi ruthlessly threw him into the statue opposite. He crashed straight into the wall, cracking it. Shang Yi coldly sneered, and you want to flirt with my sister? Ha, useless piece of trash. I'm her brother, and I don't approve. A voice called out, brother. Shang Yi heard it. After that, the angry expression was replaced by a very joyful one. The pancake did not flip as quickly as Shang Yi. With a doting expression, he looked at King Su. Oh, little sister, it's been a long time since we last met. I didn't expect you to become cured by the day. King Su crossed her arms over her chest and said, well, since you're here, I'm going ahead. Shang Yi complained with a smile, but his expression remained cheerful. You're still the same, always rejecting others. All right, I'll go back and tell all the masters of the East. Shang Yi smirked and said eagerly, I, Dong Shang Yi, have arrived. At the tavern, the sound was lively and the atmosphere was bustling, with some very pretty waitresses serving. Lu Sheng, holding a glass of wine, asked the person next to him, is Dong King Su going to pick someone up at the 3rd combat zone? Xiao Zhan admitted, that's right, so unfortunately. Lu Sheng pretended to ask another question. Training officer Dong has a friend coming to the military district, and she needs to go pick her up in person. Xiao Zhan happily said to the waitress, bring more wine, I'll pay. The waitress smiled brightly, yes. Xiao Zhan explained, not a friend, a relative, a half-brother. His name is Dong Shang Yi. In Xiao Zhan's perception, this Dong Shang Yi is not ordinary. He is a martial arts genius, a most valued disciple of the martial saint, and can be considered the successor of the martial saint. Lu Sheng replied casually, is that so? Truly formidable. Xiao Zhan laughed loudly, looking at the scene, and found nothing formidable at all. Lu Sheng, holding a glass of wine, asked doubtfully, is it that clear? Xiao Zhan happily draped an arm around Lu Sheng's shoulder and replied, who knows, you are young and talented, fighting has reached 12 stars. Inborn skills like a dragon, a proud youth, just saying, don't underestimate. Xiao Zhan provided additional information. Dong Shang Yi is truly not an ordinary person. The hair of the martial saint is not simple. Not only that, but Dong King Su also has another brother named Dong Pup Tian, who is the leader of the elite general in the central military region. Xiao Zhan spoke with a very serious expression, raising 2 fingers. Fighting has reached 27 stars. The nickname is East Emperor of the Central Region, such terrifying strength. Just think about what that concept is. Lu Sheng asked, the brother of training officer Dong is the East Emperor of the Central Region. Xiao Zhan tightened his grip on Lu Sheng's shoulder and answered, that's right. Xiao Zhan patted Lu Sheng's shoulder, saying, you've broken a sweat, right, bro? Xiao Zhan raised his glass to drink and continued, if you want to flirt with Dong King Su, you must pass the test of her 2 brothers. The road ahead for that, take care. Lu Sheng's face turned red as he denied. Hey, who said I wanted to flirt with Dong King Su? Xiao Zhan is not easily forgiving without digging to the bottom of things. What is he pretending about with me? Pretending to be a great man while hiding something. Xiao Zhan winked at Lu Sheng. Dong King Su didn't even bother pretending with me. Hearing this, Lu Sheng's eyes widened and he slammed the glass of water on the table, its expression serious. What did you say? Dong King Su confessed something to you? Xiao Jun teased him excitedly. Is that how agitated you are? The secret is out, you fool. Lu Sheng, I knew it all along. Xiao Jun stood up and placed both hands on Lu Sheng's shoulders. Your martial arts are indeed strong, but in terms of emotions, you're just a child. I can see right through you with just a glance. Lu Sheng admitted, you're right. So what did training officer Dong actually confess to you? Xiao Jun smiled contentedly. What do you want her to confess? Xiao Jun smiled. It should be time to end this. All right, I won't tease you anymore. She definitely has feelings for you. But Xiao Jun pointed a finger at Lu Sheng, his gaze more serious. That girl you mentioned had asked you out before. Perhaps she wanted to talk about those things with you. But you ended up standing her up. You really are great at this. Lu Sheng's cheeks turned red. He finally understood it and felt joy blooming inside him. Ha ha, so that's how it is. Xiao Jun poured wine into the glass and said, don't worry, I know Dong King Su too well. The things she is certain about are usually very difficult to change her mind. Regarding her challenges, it's not a big deal. Xiao Jun handed the glass of wine to Lu Sheng and continued. It's still the same thing I said earlier. Her two older brothers are the key issue, Dong Sheng Yi and Dong Po Tian. A voice spoke up, someone said, he's too strong. This person named Dong Sheng Yi. The two who just entered were discussing. On the very first day at our East Military District, he has already defeated the first-ranked Sun Heng Yu and the second-ranked Jai Sun in the elite general rankings. Both of their heads have been chalked off. Who else can compete with him? Lu Sheng and Xiao Jun listened to the two talking as they walked by. One person continued. That's right. I've heard that on the day he leaves the military, he will prepare to defeat all 4 major military districts to prove his unrivaled martial arts. That's the path to becoming a sage. The person beside him added, Martial Saint is too exaggerated. There are countless masters in the military district, and surely there will be someone who can take him down. Xiao Jun replied, looking at Lu Sheng, Ha! Dong Sheng Yi has already started making moves. The troubles of the East Military District are about to arrive. This person is challenging at such a crucial moment. It's truly reckless. Xiao Jun drank from his glass. The title of Martial Saint was indeed useful. The military district probably couldn't do anything to him. Xiao Jun wiped the drop of water lingering at his lips. Be careful. Dong Sheng Yi has wanted to take out all the members, defeating each one according to the ranking. It won't be long before it's your turn. Plus, with a relationship with Dong King Su, you will definitely be in the spotlight. Lu Sheng stroked his chin, his gaze deep. What kind of relationship do Dong King Su and Dong Sheng Yi have? He asked. Xiao Jun looked at Lu Sheng, its eyes focused. What do you mean? Are you suggesting that Dong King Su help you speak a few words so that Dong Sheng Yi spares you? Lu Sheng chuckled softly. Of course not. Lu Sheng explained, I was thinking that Dong Sheng Yi's arrival at the military district clearly indicates his intention to seize the opportunity to challenge other heroes, to cultivate his own unmatched martial will. This is extremely important for his future assault on the martial saint and the martial arts world. He cautiously continued, and he is the brother of Dong King Su, which means he will essentially be the future brother-in-law. After hearing this, Xiao Jun's eyes focused intently as he asked, Oh, and then what? Lu Sheng continued, If he meets me, I will definitely beat him until he submits. A champion like him, before he even gets up, has already had his spirit crushed. His path in martial arts will surely become unclear in the future. Lu Sheng imagined himself competing against Sheng Yi with little King Su in between. Dong Sheng Yi would see me as an arch-enemy, and training officer Dong would be caught in the middle of the two of us. We would definitely be in a very awkward situation. Lu Sheng kept calculating later on there will also be a Dong Po Tian. If I continuously defeat her two older brothers, perhaps my relationship later will be quite complicated. Xiao Jun was left speechless, unable to believe the thoughts of this troublesome child. Lu Sheng sighed. It's so hard. Xiao Jun kept glancing from side to side, looking at Lu Sheng with a puzzled expression. Xiao Jun examined Lu Sheng closely with a thoughtful look. Lu Sheng asked, What's wrong? Then Xiao Jun covered her mouth while laughing, one hand on Lu Sheng's shoulder, the other giving a thumbs up. Ha ha! If we're talking about bragging, you're definitely the best, Lu Sheng. I'm impressed. Lu Sheng looked at Xiao Jun and I'm serious. Xiao Jun understood. Ha ha ha, I know.